What's going on, everyone? In this video I'm going to be going through step by step on how you can get up and start selling on Amazon Japan. Alright, so if you're a beginner and you want to know how it's done, stick around and we'll get right into it. So I'm going to be teaching you about what I do and what I teach my students to do, okay? And that is selling private label products on Amazon FBA Japan. So if you don't know what private labeling means, what it basically means is you get a generic product and then you put your branding, your logo on it, and then you sell it as your own branded product, okay? So why this is so powerful with Amazon FBA is, well, first of all, Amazon FBA, Amazon has a bunch of, I think it's like 12 or 13 warehouses scattered throughout Japan. And you can ship your products into their warehouses and they will hold them for you. And then when someone finds your product page on Amazon and they click buy, then Amazon will then grab your product from their warehouse and then they'll send it out to the customer. So this is a very powerful model because you can ship in a bunch of units, say like 100 or 500, 1,000 or whatever, a couple of thousand. And then as soon as someone clicks buy, as I said, Amazon will do that work for you, right? So it makes things quite passive because once you've got a good product up and selling, you can basically make money while you sleep because it's, you know, Amazon's working 24 hours, 7 days a week. And when someone buys it, you know, they'll just ship it out for you and they'll take care of the payments. If there's any refunds, Amazon will take care of that. So it becomes, you know, it does become quite passive, but there is work to put in, which is what I'm going to teach about, you know, in today's video. So I'm going to be breaking it down into 5 simple steps, right? And then I'm going to go into a bit of detail within each step. So first off, the first phase is going to be product research, right? And product research is by far the most important part of the whole process, right? So if you have a bad product, say you've got a great product listing, a product page, you've got nice photos, it's all written out, it's really great, but your product is pretty average, you are most likely not going to do very well. But on the other hand, if you have a great product, but you've got just an okay listing, you could still do okay. So you really need to dive in deep with your research and find a great product to sell. So I'm going to actually be starting off and going through some criteria that I have when I'm searching for products, right? So I'll jump in, I'll do some slides. So this will be the only part of the video that's in slides, so just bear with me as we go through it. But yeah, hopefully it's got some good valuable information for you in there. Okay, so product research criteria for Amazon FBA Japan. So these are my preferred. This is my preferred criteria, okay? You don't need to have everything exact, but just take it as a guideline for things to keep in mind when you're looking to do, your product research. You don't have to tick all the boxes, but just be aware, okay, and have these things on your mind. So first off, one of the most important things before we get into the criteria is you need to really understand the budget that you have and know what you can actually spend on your inventory, which is going to have an effect on what you can actually buy in the first place. So I like to talk about I call it the 2.5x rule, okay? So, which means you want to divide your total budget by 2.5. So I've just got here an example. So say for example, you've got $3,500 to spend on your inventory, right? That does not mean that you can spend all of that on your inventory, on your purchase order. You can't. You need to divide that by roughly 2.5, which means you've only got $1,400 to spend on your initial inventory costs, okay? So you want to keep in mind that you want roughly 6 to 8 weeks worth of stock, okay? So that's a rough guideline, rule of thumb, because once you get up and selling on Amazon, once you get your product ranked, you need to have your product ranked on a great position, preferably basically at the top of page 1 for your main keyword search results in order to start getting organic traffic. Organic traffic meaning that you don't actually spend money on Amazon's ads to get sales. They'll just find your product naturally, then they'll purchase a product, which is what you want, which is what your goal is, all right? So if you can get 6 to 8 weeks worth of stock by the time, because Amazon doesn't pay you out straight away when you get a sale, they pay you out every 2 weeks, okay? So if you've allocated all of your money straight away to your products, to your inventory, then you're not going to get paid out fast enough to be able to purchase your next order. And depending on the product and depending on the manufacturer, the lead time, the amount of time that it takes once you've made your order to actually getting your product manufactured and then shipped to Amazon Japan's warehouses, that can be anywhere from like a month to even 2 months, okay? So that's why I say you need at least 6 to 8 weeks worth of stock, okay? So you need to have extra stock on hand so you keep cycling and you don't run out, okay? That's what your goal is going to be. So And then we move down to here, what are your goals, okay? So what are your financial goals from running your Amazon business? So if you want to make $1,000 profit per month, this is just an example. You know, if you're going to sell 100 units per month at $10 profit, okay, that means you need to sell 3 to 4 per day. Or if you wanted to sell, say, 6 to 7 units per day, that's going to be at $5 profit, which means you need to sell 200 units in a month, okay? Or if you're going to sell 400 units in a month, that's going to be each product is going to need to make you $2.50 per product, and then you're going to sell 13 to 14 per day. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about what you can afford to buy, right? So next up, probably the most important part I try and tell people to do, is my advice, how I like to do things, is find products that have proven demand, proven sales, okay? Because that eliminates the guesswork out of, you know, what product you should sell. Instead of just thinking, I think this is going to be good if it sells, look at the data, see what actually sells, and then make a better product or a different product that you think is going to have demand for it, okay? So here we go. So you want to look for products that have at least 3 sellers doing numbers that you would be happy with. That's in Japan, you know, because it's a smaller market, especially than Amazon.com in America, there's going to be less competition, which is one of the most, you know, attractive things about the market. However, there is going to be less sales as well. So what I've found over the last, you know, three and a half years, whatever, selling on Amazon Japan, is if you can find at least 3 sellers that are doing the numbers that you're happy with, then it's a good sign of the demand. And especially if their product pages or their photos or even just their products in general are, you know, poor quality and you could do better, then that's something that, you know, I would jump into. So the next point is check for variations of keywords. So for example, if you want to sell, for example, phone cases or whatever, right? If you do your keyword research, I'll tell you a bit about how to do that in a second. But and there's only one keyword that's like phone case, and there's no other variations of keywords that people are searching to find phone cases. Then that is probably going to be not a very good product. You want a product that's, for example, got phone case for phones, phone holder, or something like that. If there's a whole bunch of different keywords that people are searching, then people are buying from, that's a good product, and it's got, you know, proven demand. So look for products that have multiple keywords, right, with search volume. And then so that moves on to the next point, is the keyword that have monthly search volume of at least 10,000 searches, 10,000 searches per month. And so how do you do that? You use a tool called SELLERSPRITE, all right? And I'll show you a bit about how you can use SELLERSPRITE. I've got, you know, multiple videos on my channel that show me using SELLERSPRITE, things like that. It's basically the best tool to use for product research for Amazon Japan. You know, there's other big tools for the other markets in America, like Jungle Scout and Helium 10, things like that. However, they don't work for Amazon Japan. But SELLERSPRITE does, okay? So this is what I use, this is what I recommend all my students to use. If you do decide to use it later on, you know, they've got a free trial. And yeah, I do have a 20% off discount per month code, which you can check out. I'll leave that down in the description below. So next up, pricing. So my suggestion and what I recommend is at least 1,300 yen, okay? So when it gets lower than that, you know, the Amazon's FBA fees, you know, can really cut into your profit margins, and at least just source something that's super cheap and you're still making good margins on it, well then it's okay. But I suggest that you look at things that are at least 1,300 yen. So that's, you know, around about $10 US. And yeah, up to 4,000 yen. Any kind of higher than that, and then it becomes less of a what's the word? Just purchasing things without thinking too much. I forgot the English word in my head. My English is getting so bad these days. But yeah, 1,300 to 4,000 yen. Next is the majority of bestseller products on Amazon Japan are under 3,000 yen anyway, so that's another reason why. Next point being, though, however, is do not be afraid to sell at a higher price if you're offering more value. Okay, you don't have to be the cheapest, and I suggest you don't. I suggest you stay away from being the cheapest out there, because someone will usually beat you. All right, probably even if maybe a manufacturer jumps on and they can undercut you. So you want to be different. You want to be providing value. Okay, so there's many ways you can provide value by, you know, bundling with other products, you know, just making a more higher quality product, perceived value, you know, adding like nicer packaging and things like this. So you want to be different and you want to offer more value, and then yeah, that allows you to charge a higher price, and Japanese consumers will pay a higher price if they do see that their value is there. And yeah, so there you go. Value more important than the cheapest price. So next up, reviews and competition. So generally speaking, I look for products where the competition has less than 150 reviews. But don't be put off by triple-figure reviews. It comes back to how much value you're offering with your product. Okay, so if you've got a great product, don't be too afraid of these high numbers, because in Japan, review numbers are not as important, as I guess as in the American market, and I'll talk a bit more about that. So high review counts with 5 stars are much more tough to compete against. So if you've got like a low number of reviews, your competitor's got a low number of reviews, but 5 stars, it's going to be harder to compete against. For example, a competitor that's got say 3.5 or 4 stars, but like 100 or something like that. So you keep that in mind. So it can quickly compete with single-digit reviews if you have a good offer. That goes with what I just said, and try to watch out for your competitors if they are big brands. If all the products, like for example those 3 sellers, they're doing good numbers, but they're big brands, and it's probably going to be a lot more difficult for you to compete, because they could be driving traffic from outside, and people just know their name and that they're only willing to buy from them. So keep that in mind as well. Next up is seasonality. Okay, so be careful if you're a newbie, if you're a beginner. If for example you want to sell woolen hats, okay, so they're going to be probably pretty seasonal. They'll be up high now in the winter, and then when it gets to the summer, they'll dive down. They'll be up like this, up and down, up and down. If you're just starting out, it's better to have something that's more consistent throughout the year. Okay, so the good thing about seasonality is that they sell great with a low number of reviews. So if you are going to get into it, just make sure that they sell in the off season too. Okay, so if you do get caught out and you have some left over, at the end of the season it's coming down, you can still kind of get rid of them over the off season period as well. Because if they get stuck in Amazon's warehouse, you are paying storage fees on these products. Okay. And if you do decide to, just make sure to prepare in advance. So for example, if you're going to have like a summer product, you should be preparing and ordering that product in February. So by the time it gets into Amazon, it gets into Amazon, you've got it ranking and pumping up. It's ready by the summer to start selling, a mass amount of units. And you can check that inside SELLERSPRITE. So this point here, so the opportunity to differentiate and improve on a product. Okay, so this is crucial, all right? This is very important. I kind of talked a bit about this before. So bundling is great, but you need to add value. If you're going to bundle a product, say for a phone case with like a knife and a fork or something like that, it's just not going to work, and it doesn't make any sense. But if you can say like a phone case with an extra, I don't know, like a phone, maybe even like one of those microfiber cloth or something that clean the phone, I don't know, something like that related, it's going to be a lot more better, and just matches and makes sense, right? Next is if you can find some kind of way to improve the product. So what value can be added there. So you can find ways how you can find problems with the products by just looking at the customer reviews on Amazon on the product pages themselves. So yes, it's on Amazon Japan, but you can actually click a button that says next to the review, like translate to English, and you can get a pretty good idea of what the Japanese words mean in English for the reviews. And so for the bad reviews, I'll look at anything from 3 stars, 2 stars, and 1 stars. Anything, like if it gets down to 1 star, they can be pretty biased and just be like, oh, they just have some kind of complaint that's not really, doesn't make sense, doesn't really give you any idea of what's actually wrong with the product. But especially those 2 stars and those 3 stars, check those out. And so can you even launch your product? Okay, so is it within your budget? Like we spoke about at the start, if you've got $3,000 to start with, that does not mean that you have $3,000 to spend on that initial inventory. Next is restrictions and regulations. If you're going to be trying to sell something like a Bluetooth headphones or Bluetooth products or something, you're going to have to get like certifications to be able to sell those products. So make sure you do your research there. How many units are the top competitors selling? So if they're selling like a lot of units, you may not be able to compete, because in order to rank and get to the top spots and be able to pass your competitors, you have to be able to match or surpass those numbers that they're selling. So if they're selling 20 units a day, you have to be selling 20 to say 25 units per day in order to get there. So are you going to be able to do that, right? So how are you going to do that? Are you going to do PPC? Are you going to do giveaways and things like that? You need to keep all these things in mind. Okay, so that's it for the criteria. Okay, so just take all of these as just note them down. You don't have to do everything, but just keep them in mind, okay, when you're doing your research. And I'll quickly jump into SELLERSPRITE and show you a bit about what it is and how it works. Okay, so you can do some product research today if you wanted to. Okay, so I'm inside SELLERSPRITE now, and so what you'll do is you'll come over to Product Sprite and come down to Product Research, and then you'll get this page here. And then so you can see the categories in Japanese or what are available on Amazon Japan. So if you can't read Japanese, I use Google Chrome, and then you can just translate the page to English, and then you can see what the categories are, right? So I'm just going to choose random stuff here. So let's go into I don't know, pet supplies. Okay, pet supplies, and so you can come over here. So as I said earlier, sales price. Okay, so I said more than 1,300, max of say 4,000. Revenue, so this depends on your budget. So let's just say we want it between say 300,000 and so 2 million yen. So that's going to be yen in there. Okay, these are the yen prices. So then maybe I'll just keep it like that. Click search now. And then it's going to come up with a bunch of results. So it's got almost 1,300 results here that you can go through and check out. So these are all within the pet category, right? So it's going to be a bunch of, I tend to just look at the photos and see what they are. So another thing you might want to avoid when you're starting off with is perishables, like things, like dog food or even food for humans, things that go on your skin, like cosmetics, things like that. They're going to be a bit more strict on maybe like in your import regulations and selling them on Amazon, so you might want to stay away from those as well. So then just come through and look at the pictures, and then so what you can do, say for example, let's look at this one here. You can click on this little graph button, and then you can see like the monthly sales history for this product. So this is where you can get an idea if it's a seasonal product or not. All right. So this one seems pretty consistent throughout. It's going down. It's dropped down a bit here, but that's over quite a few months. But if you see products that just go up, like for one season they drop right back down, and they go up over the summer. That's how you can easily see if it's a seasonal product or not. I think now they've got a new feature on here as well, where you can actually look on Google Trends as well. That's how you use SELLERSPRITE to look up products. Okay, so then as I said, you look up a product and try and find one that's got at least 3 sellers doing the numbers that you wanted. So also, as I said earlier, you want to find products that have various keywords available as well. So you can come over here to Keyword Sprite, come into keyword mining, and then so for example, change to Japanese. So for example, let's just say shoes. Okay, so you'd put the Japanese word for shoes in. To find the Japanese word, you'd just go to Google Translate and then put in shoes, and then it will show you the word. But since I understand a bit of Japanese, so I'll just leave it at that. So let's say this word there, kutsu. I'll just leave it in hiragana. All right, and then so you can see here monthly searches. So this word right here, the main keyword, it's got 34,000. Then there's another one that's got 88,000, 5,000, 17,000, 6,000. Once again, if you're using Google Chrome, you can just translate this to English to see what the keywords are. So you've got men's shoes, shoes, men's, athletic shoes, blah, 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 blah. And then, so there's a bunch of, there's multiple keywords being searched for this product, which is a good sign, that there's, proven demand for it. So that's how you can do your keyword research as well. So I wanted to give you an example of a product that you could look further into. So it would take me ages to do this in one video. So I just found a product that I thought was kind of interesting. So it is a translate it, soap flour. Okay, so flour soaps. I thought this was pretty interesting. So I was doing a bit of research, and you can see the trends just at looking at the graph. It's going up. 88 searches per month for this product. It's got quite a lot of demand, and so if we just click on the graph over here, we can see it's a bit seasonal, so it peaks in May. It peaks in May each year, and that's because it's Mother's Day in May in Japan. And actually, fun fact, Mother's Day, so in Japanese it's called Haha no Hi, I think is the most searched word on Amazon Japan. All right, so your Mother's Day is a big day to make some sales if you're selling a product that's like a gift. However, and even in the low periods, it's still got 47,000 searches at its lowest, right? And then it goes up all the way up to 160. So even in the low periods, it's still pretty good search volume for this product. So yeah, this is a pretty interesting product to get into. So yeah, so and then you can see here there's multiple keywords available. So you can click here, search this keyword on Amazon, and then you can get an idea of the sales of a product. So if we go over here, click, this is for the Chrome extension for SELLERSPRITE, and then it will bring up the data for the products that are on this search results page. Okay, so already we can see here this product's doing 362 per month units, doing 360,000 yen. This one's done 388,000. What else? So this one's doing 220,000 yen per month. 30,000. Okay, so this one's doing a million yen per month. That's like roughly 10 grand USD. Yeah, 189, 152. So, you know, that goes back to your budget, how much you can afford, and also your goals for how much you want to make. Okay, so this, if these are the numbers that you'd be happy with, you know, this would be something that you want to look further into. So another reason why this is good is because there's a lot of room for differentiation. Okay, you know, making the products, you know, creating more value, being different. So you can see just right here off the bat, there's these products are all quite different. This one's like added this teddy bear thing. Yeah, this one's got like the, you know, nice gift card and a gift box and things like that. So it gives, if you're a creative person, you know, this could be a good product for you to get into. This one's got like 2 teddy bears and a envelope thing, so you might want to make it an even bigger bundle, right, with a whole bunch more little gifts and stuff involved. I'm not sure, something like that, but this is the way you want your brain to be thinking when you're doing your research. So yeah, that is it for SELLERSPRITE once again. So that's going to do it for the product research phase of the video. So yeah, if you do want to get into it and you want to use the 20% off per month discount code, it's I'll leave it on the screen right now for you and in the description below. All right, and so step number 2 is sourcing a supplier, right? And the easiest way is to come on to Alibaba.com, where you can pretty much find a manufacturer for any product under the sun. So this is the most popular one, and it's, you know, it's pretty easy to use. There are some other ones out there, but just to keep it simple, I'll just go through this website a little bit. So let's say we wanted to find soap flowers. Okay, so you'd simply just come in here. There you go. Look up soap flowers, and then you will get a bunch of results. There you go. That one looks quite nice right there. So this is where you can get an idea of the price and if you're going to be able to be profitable or not. So you can actually click here, and you go to, if you click on suppliers, or just right now you can see it's got 8,133 results. But that's going to have the same supplier quite a bunch of with a bunch of times, you know, on these results. But if you click suppliers, it's only going to have one supplier per result. Okay, so it's narrowed it down a lot more. And yeah, so if you want to contact them, you can click that, and you can write them an email. You can click chat now, and you can chat with them live. You know, I'd like to use the chat now function quite a lot, because you can get your answers quicker, and you can just ask them a quick few questions and try and get some fast quotes, so you can move on pretty quickly. So the next question kind of comes is, which supplier is a good one to use? And so you can kind of judge them and rate them on simply off some of these listings. So first one, the gold supplier. You want them to have at least a gold supplier badge. Okay, this is not the best thing because they can actually pay to get a gold supplier badge, but you want to have it. Okay, next is trade assurance. Okay, so what trade assurance is basically Alibaba's escrow system, like pay system, all right? And yeah, it's really helpful, and it is a safe way to be able to make payments online through Alibaba. So I use trade assurance quite a lot. Next, you want to try and find one if you can down here. This one here, it's got verified supplier. This means that, yeah, Alibaba's checked up on them and they know that they are real. Okay, so you want them to find, you want ones with a verified supplier badge. Also, they sometimes have one that actually says an on-sign check. It's got an on-sign check badge. That's even better. That means that in Alibaba stuff, or someone's gone physically to their location and checked that they're legit as well. So that's another good one to see. Next, you can look at their transaction history. Okay, so for example, this one down here, 286 transactions in the last 6 months and over $210,000. So that's a good sign. If they've got like none or a really low number, that's might be a sign that they're a bit shady. Okay. And also over here, you can see it's got 1 year. This one's got 2 years. I like to look at suppliers that have at least 3 years history on Alibaba as well. So that's how you can start vetting through your suppliers. And so you can just contact a bunch of them, have a template, you can just copy and paste the same questions that you want to ask, and you can get things done a lot more quicker. A little pro tip is create a brand new email account when you're making your Alibaba account, because you will start getting a lot of messages from suppliers in Alibaba hitting you up. So just keep it separate and tidy. Make a brand new Gmail account or something like that. So one last thing I wanted to show you is how to kind of test if your product will be profitable or not. All right, so we'll just find an example product here of some soap flowers. So you can see that they come in all different prices, ranging all over the place depending on how many flowers you get and whatnot. I'll just find something random here. Let's go this one here. So around about $2 is going to be the price. $1.20 to $2 for the price of this product. So what you can do is you can come to the Amazon Japan FBA fee simulator, right? So you can just change this to English if you're using Google Chrome, and you're going to put in an ASIN, which is like the page identifier of a product on Amazon, to get an idea of what the FBA fees are for a similar product to have that size and weight and that kind of product. So we'll just take this one as an example. So we need to find the ASIN for this one. So you can just come down the easiest way and you'll see ASIN over here. Okay, so you're going to copy the ASIN, put it in here. Okay, then you'll get this page. So up here you're going to put in the sell price of the product. So for example, this one I think was around 1,700 yen. So let's just say this is just if you were going to sell it at this price. So we really just want to see what the fees are going to be. So that's going to be the fees of what it's going to cost you to send it from your manufacturer into Amazon, and this is the cost that it's going to cost you to actually manufacture this product. So it was $2 on Alibaba, right? So let's just say 250 yen, which is roughly that much. And for this product, it's probably going to be maybe 150 yen for shipping per unit. So click calculate, and then we'll see we should be making roughly 600 yen per product for this product, right? With a net profit margin of 36%. Which is pretty good. So this is just a rough, just a rough estimate. It's going to depend on the product and stuff, but this is how I just want to show you how you can get an idea of what the potential profit for a product is. So yeah, that's going to wrap it up for this part of the process, and then we're moving on to number 3 next. All right, so step number 3 is shipping, all right? Shipping and importing. So if you're just starting out, and maybe if you've never imported or exported, anything before, this might be a little bit intimidating or confusing, but it can be very simple, all right? So there's 3 ways to go about shipping. So you've got air freight, sea freight, and courier, okay? And by far the easiest way to get things done is using a courier, like for example DHL or FedEx, all right? So if you use a courier, it's going to cost you a little bit more. However, if you're just starting out, I suggest you go this way because it's a lot more simple. You could ask your supplier if they have a preferred courier. They might even have an account with them so you can get better rates through them. And then if you go through them as well, they will be able to pay for the taxes and duties up front, so there's no surprises later on. If you go via sea, it's going to be a bit longer. However, it may be a bit cheaper. It's going to depend on your shipment, the size and the weight of your products. And there's air freight as well, which is going to be faster than sea freight, but it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But I suggest if you're just starting out, just use a courier and just keep things simple, right? So when you're going to be importing products into Japan, you're also going to need something called an importer of record, okay, an IOR. And what this is a person or an entity that's inside Japan that can take responsibility for your shipment. So up until the final destination where it's shipped, that person or entity is going to be responsible. So they'll also be responsible for paying any taxes or duties applicable to your shipment as well. So yeah, if you live in Japan, yeah, you can be an you can do the IOR yourself. However, if you're outside Japan, you're going to need to find someone or an entity to do that for you. Yeah, there's some companies, if you search around online, my company, FBAJapanBuddy.com, has an IOR service. So if you want to, go through us, which a lot of our my members of my Facebook group use, and also my students use as well. Yeah, feel free to check us out. I'll leave a link down below. Yeah, and that's basically it for shipping and importing. I keep it simple when you're first getting started out. Alright, and the next step, number 4, is going to be creating a listing. Alright, so that's your product page. So that's the page that shows up when someone finds your product. So there's a few different elements involved, and I'm going to be breaking down what's involved with a listing. Alright, so you've got your images, you have got your title, you've got your bullet points, and then you've got your description. So I'm just going to jump into my computer and we'll break down and show you a bit more about them and how you can create them yourself. Okay, so as I said earlier, there are some main points within the listing. All right, so you've got your text, all your text, you've got your title, your bullet points, and your description, which I'll talk about in a second. But the text in your listing isn't just to explain to the customer, the benefits and the features of your product. It also has to include keywords, right? So Amazon knows what the heck that your product is, and who to promote it to, and who to sell it to, okay, and who's most likely to buy it. So it's very important that the keywords that you include in your listing are relevant to your product, and you can find those keywords by using SELLERSPRITE.com. The keywords that go into your title are going to hold the most weight. Okay, so the most important keywords that are going to do the best for your product, you need to put them into the title, right? And then after that, the next most important part is going to be the bullet points, and then after that is going to be down in the description, right? And then any other ones that you can't put into the front end, onto your the front page where everyone sees right here, you're going to put into your back end keywords in the back end. Okay, so here we have the title. This is going with the soap flower example. This is the title, and there's a bunch of different keywords in here related to this product. Okay, don't worry if you can't read Japanese. That's not what you need to worry about. Just know the parts, the breakdown of what a product listing is. Then you've got the images over here. So this is the main image, and then they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They might even have a couple of secret ones if they know what they're doing. So they've actually got 8 photos here. Okay, you can have a max of 9 product photos, so they could add one more if they wanted to. So you've got your photos over here. Down here you've got your bullet points, so they've got 5 bullet points here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the description is down below, which holds the least amount of weight, but it does hold weight for the keywords. And this is down here. Okay, and so what they've done here, they've got images down here. They've used something called A+ content, which is what I suggest you use too, which basically allows you to be able to do this, put images and lay out your text like they've done here. So if you don't do that, if you just use the standard description, it'll just be text and it'll look really ugly. But if you do add A+ content, yeah, you can do something nice like this, what they've done as well. So yeah, that's the breakdown of a product listing, right? Then you've got your back-end keywords, which are the keywords that won't show up in your listing. However, what you want to use your back-end keywords for are things that wouldn't really make sense in your listing, but they have shown that they related to your product if you've done your research on your competitors, and maybe things like spelling mistakes and things like that. You can put them in the back end and they'll still hold some weight on your listing. Okay, so that is it for creating listings. So you might be thinking, how the heck do I do all this Japanese if I don't speak any Japanese? So yeah, it's a very simple solution. Just get a translator or get a freelancer to help you get it translated into Japanese. So you'll have to do your keyword research, or you could outsource your keyword research if you can find someone that can do that for you. Or you just write it all out in English, the words that you want, and then find a translator to do that. So you can go to places like Upwork. You could even go to Fiverr. And find people to do that for you. Once again, FBA Japan Buddy, we do translations as well. So if you can give us, there's 3 different tiers of what you can get. You can just send us your English text and then we can just straight translate it for you, or we can do the keyword research for you, and then incorporate that with the English text if you've got, and then we can translate it, or we could just do the whole thing with research involved included as well. So that's yeah, if you want to check out that, that's at fbajapanbuddy.com as well. So that is it for creating a listing, and next up is the last one, is going to be launching it. So I'm going to show you the basics of how you can launch a product using PPC, which is Amazon's internal advertising platform, right? So it's pay per click. So I'll just show you first of all what it will look like when you're running a PPC campaign. So if we come back to the search results for soap flowers, if you come down here, you can see here it says in Japanese sponsored product. If you look at it in English, it'll say sponsored products, and this is when you can actually, these people are paying to have their product show up here in the search results. Okay, so at the top or in certain points in the search results page. So this is what PPC does. So if we come back here, we're going to just name your campaign. So no one's going to see this except for you, so you can name whatever you want. So we'll just call it soap flower order, something like that. You've got your start date and your end date, and then you've got your daily budget. So this is going to depend on your budget, but I'd usually start with something like 3,000 yen per day, around about $30 per day. And then you've got two types here. You can choose automatic targeting, or you've got manual targeting. So with automatic targeting, you're basically letting Amazon try and search and figure out what's the best keywords for your product. And manual is when you'll, for example, use SELLERSPRITE and find a bunch of relevant keywords, and you'll put them in, and it's manual, right? So for this, we're just going to be running an automatic targeting campaign. So we'll leave it on automatic. So next, for the campaign bidding strategy, we're just going to click on fixed bids, and we're going to leave it there. Keep it simple, since we're just starting off with this product. And then we're going to create an ad group. So yeah, this is just the name for your group of ads. So we'll just call it I don't know, flower group 1, something like that. All right, and then you're going to add a product that's going to be running for this campaign. So we'll just click this. We'll just pretend that these are some soap flowers that we're going to sell. And then you've got your default bid, all right? So this is what you're willing to bid per click, all right? So you can see it's got a suggested bid of 32 yen, and it ranges, the suggested bid ranges between 25 and 61. So if you bid too low, then your competitors, if your competitors bid higher than you, then they are going to beat you, and they're going to get displayed more than you, right? However, if you bid too high, you might run out of money too early. So you've got to find the right balance. So when I'm first starting up and I'm running a campaign for the first time, I do bid pretty high to make sure that my ads are getting displayed. I can get data quicker. So I will put it at the higher end. This is going to come up to your preference, but I'd probably even put it at maybe 62, 1 yen higher than what the suggested top max suggested bid is, and leave it like that. But that's up to your personal preference. So after that, you've got your negative keywords. So these are keywords that you want, telling Amazon that you don't want your ads to show up for, but since we're just starting out, we don't really know what the negative keywords are going to be, so you can just leave this section for now. And yeah, that's it. Just click launch campaign, and then you're going to have your first Amazon PPC auto campaign up and running. And that is it. So you've got product research, finding a supplier, shipping and importing, creating a listing, and then launching with PPC. Yeah, so if you want to join the largest Amazon Japan seller community, check out my Facebook group, which is called Amazon Japan Exclusive. You'll find me in there and a bunch of other Amazon Japan sellers. And if you want a more detailed guide with step-by-step, 8 hours plus of content on how you can do this, check out my program, which is fbajapanmastery.com. And yeah, you'll also have access to me whenever you need to get your questions answered. So that's going to wrap it up. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and I'll be sure to check them out. Otherwise, yeah, I could also answer them inside the Facebook group too. And yeah, see you.